Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. For today's video, I thought it would be fun to do a sketchbook study session, and the topic for today's study session will be whales. I've been recently thinking about whales lately, and I really want to see a whale in real life, but since I can't leave my house, I thought we could draw some whales and perfect our whale drawing, and it would be fun. So if you want to draw with me and get out your sketchbook, we can draw together and it'll be fun. So let's get started. So the first whale we'll be drawing is a killer whale, or an orca, as also known. Most whales have very similar body shape I've seen. The killer whale kind of looks more stout, or like smaller. I guess for a whale, compared to us, they're humongous. Whenever I see a killer whale, I always think they look like cartoons, because they're just so pretty, and it's just amazing that that kind of animal exists, and it's just so cool. So I'm just gonna try to get a very long elliptical shape, oval shape. This is my first time drawing a whale, so I have no whale drawing experience prior to this, so this will be fun. I must do this whale justice. I think that's about the shape. I'm drawing an underwater orca. And then his little flipper at the bottom, at the end of his tail. And I'm not aiming for photorealism, I'm just aiming for an illustrator style. I think it would be so cool to see whales with your actual eyes in real life, in the wild. I think whales are very magical, just the way they look and behave. And we'll be coloring these whales with gouache, so don't worry, we're not just gonna leave it a pencil sketch. So now that we got a basic layout, let's paint this. And we will be using the jelly gouache. We get our water, and I like to have two waters, because one water is to dip your brush in for just to get your brush wet, and the other one's to actually clean your brush, so you don't dirty the paint when you're repainting something or painting a new area. I'm just gonna lighten up the sketch so graphite doesn't get on it. Graphite is the enemy with watercolor. Okay, now you can't see that at all. Let's get the darkest part of the whale first. So we're gonna need some black. We'll just get the darkest part, which will be this bottom part, because in the photo the top of the whale is closest to the surface of the water. So we will be making sure the top part has lighter areas, highlights. And as we get closer to the top, I'm going to mix some navy with the black. Mix navy with a little bit of black, so that it appears it's getting lighter. Let me clean my brush, get some navy, get some black. I'll make sure I don't cover up that white spot near his eye. Make sure that blends in with the black, so you don't have like a line of black and then navy. I'm gonna use this light blue. I'm just gonna experiment and use this light blue as kind of a highlight, because I don't want any intense shadows or highlights. I kind of want to keep it in the blue spectrum and black spectrum. Just want to experiment with highlights and shadows a little bit here too, because intense shadows can be kind of dramatic. Probably the light is coming like this and it's diffusing. I'm gonna take some more navy. Probably gonna add black to some of these areas. Okay, now I'm just gonna go over some areas with black, just to make it a little darker. I'm gonna wait for this to dry a bit so I can do another layer, and we will continue then. Okay, I let it dry, and by I let it, I used the hairdryer to make this dry faster. I also just added a clip because the page was kind of buckling. So let us continue with our whale. Okay, this area is a bit splotchy, so I'm just gonna go over places with black, because when I look at this picture, he's more black. He has a lot more black areas than anything, so let me just go over places that have more black in it. I'm gonna work a little faster so the gouache blends with the other blues, with the other colors, with the other gouache colors, because that was the problem in the beginning. The construction noises have returned. I can't get a break. While we wait for that area to dry, let's do the tail, which is kind of a grayish color. So we just get some black. Probably should have got the white first before I got the black. Okay, this needs more white. White tail. Let me add little shadows to the white areas, and we're gonna do this by taking some navy, and then we're gonna mix a little bit of gray, because they are underwater, so the shadows are not like black, they're more bluish. Shadows here. Now I'm just gonna take a wet brush to fan out those shadows, so it kind of blends in with the white. And if that doesn't work, like it doesn't turn out that nice, you're just gonna add some white to it. Yeah, it's getting a little difficult, the gouaches. I think I went a little too much with the shadows, so let's just add some white just to diffuse it a bit. I think those shadows are good. Now this is the area that's bothering me the most. So I'm going to take some white to this area and just add it. See what happens. We're just experimenting. And we're just going to go with black and just cover this area. Then we're going to go with some white. Maybe like a tiny bit of blue. Fan out. We're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna see if we can add anything else. So this dried out much nicer than I thought. I feel like it blends very nicely. It just shows you when gouache is still wet. Sometimes it doesn't look great, but it dries out oddly well sometimes. But I'm just gonna fix this eye area because it's a little bit too much in shadow. I want more white in it. And I'm gonna fix up this tail because I want the tail to be go down a little more. I think we are done with our first whale. I like how this killer whale came out. I think he came out really cute and adorable, and killer whales are adorable. So let's do another whale, a different whale. I think this one's a humpback whale, so correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, let's draw another whale. It kind of has like a C curve. Definitely should draw more perspective areas. I mean, concentrate a lot on perspective, because perspective can really make your art look 3D when it's actually 2D. This tail is kind of bothering me. I feel like sometimes I just kind of have to let go and see how it turns out. I guess because it's like such a broad like such a fine tip. I feel like I have to be very detailed and make the sketch perfect. But in fact, I don't. I just need the general shape. I have to just be free with my pencil. Okay, that fin actually looks kind of weird. Let me fix that fin a little bit. I think in the picture there's like a little fish that's hanging around the whale. Do I include that? Yeah, why not? So, let's get painting this whale. Now this whale, he's more gray. So we're going to concentrate on black. We're probably only going to use black and maybe it's slight navy blue. He has a little bit of blue shadows here. I see. Do the shadows later. Let's just get the main color of the whale. Okay, we're going to add some darker areas to the whale. Because he's not going to be just one kind of gray. He's going to have many kind of gray. Just want to just be very, just put it wherever I feel like it. Just be very random with gray splotches so it doesn't look intentional. It looks like just natural, which I find very hard, just to put colors randomly. I always try to do it, especially when you're doing like nature scenes. You don't want to be intentional because nature is very random and it's not perfect, but we always aim for perfection. But in reality, perfection is not really, nature is not perfect. I always feel like my drawings have to be perfect and be very detailed and be very precise, but in fact, when you look at nature, nature is not perfect. There's a lot of randomness, there's a lot of weird, not perfect circles, there's a lot of just random things happening, and I think that's important to remember. Perfection doesn't really exist in the natural world. I feel like if you're not enjoying the painting or drawing process, you're not really, then maybe you should have a new outlook on how you're painting. You're not happy with how the piece came out, but in fact, it's just a learning process. You just have to keep trying and accept that mistakes are bound to happen. You don't want to let that get you down. Like I said, enjoy the painting process. When you aim for perfection, you lose a lot of that feeling in your work, and you don't want to lose that feeling, because art is like a fingerprint for an artist. You're the only one who can draw like you. Yes, other people can recreate, make it look exactly like, but if you actually look very closely, there are differences, and it's important to know that you don't want to just be like someone. You want to be you, and you just want to be you, and when you're just being yourself, you can really flourish the best you can. I think this whale is coming out pretty nicely. He still has a bit to go, so I'm just gonna work on the belly of the whale and add some shadows, because he's lacking in the shadow category. Let me just get some navy blue with a bit of gray. I've been trying for a while to get back into reading again. I used to read so much in high school. Then when I went to college, I stopped reading because all you do is read your textbooks, and then you don't feel like reading anything else other than your textbooks, of course. I've been trying to get back into reading, so that's what I've been trying to do. Okay, this whale, he has a lot of grays. I think that's why I'm spending so much time. He's almost done. I just want to, it's a bit patchy. That's my problem. Oh, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a little bit of this blue, mix it with this gray, just do a light wash over this, just so it gives a little shine, because he is at the surface of the water. And add a little like blackish color right here, let me just cover up this dark blue so it looks more softer. And I'm just going to color his eyes. I just remembered he had another fin. Ugh. That fin is eluding me. Okay, this part of the fin is the darkest. And then he has a light part, which is kind of whitish gray. And we can't forget about his fish buddy, which was really dark. And I might just make him the same color as the underside of the, which just looks part of him at this point. So, let me fix his tail a bit. Oh, I wanted to add a little bit of white to our fishy friend because he's getting lost. And also, he would be a little lighter up here. Add some water, just plain water. Clean off your brush. Clean off the brush and just blend with the color underneath. I'm gonna add some white to his underbelly because it's a little bit too dark. So I just want to add some white because there would be some highlights underneath because the water would be bounce the light around a bit. Okay, and I think that's all I'm gonna do with this guy. Oh wait, actually no. We're going to add a little eye highlight right here because he's sparkling. And that is our humpback whale. So I like how he came out too. I wasn't really paying attention with the grays. I was just kind of putting it in random places. Only towards the end and sometimes in the beginning I was really paying attention. But I think he came out quite nice. So this time we're going to do a beluga whale because they're so cute looking. They're so funny looking, but yet so cute looking. So for the beluga whale, his shadows are very bluish. I'm gonna actually start out with the shadows. I'm gonna go with this like cerulean blue for his shadows just to test out, and if anything I can cover it up if I really don't like it. Actually gonna add a little bit of navy just to this one, just to make it a little darker. Yep, that's better. I feel like this beluga whale is going to be the hardest one just because he's mainly white. So this will be kind of difficult. I'm mostly depending on shadows and highlights, and so hopefully I do a good job. He looks kind of scary now. I must do this beluga whale justice. Add some white to areas. He looks really scary. Maybe if I add some dark areas it'll help. Let's just go with straight navy. I think I'm gonna have to add more highlights. I think that's why it looks kind of not the greatest because he doesn't have a lot of highlights. I think that's what's happening. He's getting kind of lost in the shadows. We just add a little dimension here because here it's getting lost. You just add some water and kind of blend this out. Maybe add some gray. I think gray might help. Wait, that's too gray. Kind of just add like something extra. So it doesn't feel so lost. Fan that out so it blends in. Any other colors that's there. Sometimes it could just be the eye, because sometimes when I don't add, like when I don't color the eyes, like the painting doesn't look great to me. Sometimes just coloring the eyes make it look a little better. But in this case I still need to do other things. The eyes did make it look a little better. It looks a little less lifeless. Because when you just have white eyes it looks scary. I think before I was just too worried about where the shadows were, and I was paying too much attention instead of being kind of free. Earlier this video I was talking about how perfection is, you don't try not to obtain perfection, just try your best, and here I am trying to obtain perfection. It just shows how ingrained it is in us and how hard it is to try to fight it, but we can all do it. Yes, I think he's actually coming along now. Let's just add some white highlights to areas. I'm gonna add a little bit of blue right here because the fin is getting lost. And I think it's almost done. Just add little areas like this. Then finally add a little eye highlight right there. They look so cute. And that is the beluga whale. I quite like how he came out. I did lose hope a bit when I was at the beginning of this painting, but after I just let myself be free, I think this beluga whale came out very nicely. And let's see, let me zoom out so you can see all the whales together. So here are all my whales, and I think they all came out very nicely. If I had to pick a favorite, I would choose the humpback whale, just because I feel like I was the most free with this whale. I was just kind of mindlessly painting, and there's a water droplet there. Let me fix him very quickly. Okay, I fixed the water droplet a bit. But yes, these are on my whales, and I think they all came out very nicely. I definitely have to work on beluga whales a little bit because they're mainly white, so I get a little scared of doing highlights and shadows because I'm scared of, oh, but he's white, so where would the shadows be? Where would the highlights be? What color would the shadows and highlights be? But I just have to get over that fear and just do it. But I think he came out very well for my first beluga whale. Not perfect, but very well. Or in my standards, for very well. But I hope you enjoyed today's video and you liked the whales. And in the comments, let me know what your favorite whale is. I don't really have a favorite, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!